A grueling journey leads us to Rhino Camp refugee settlement in Omugo Zone, Terego district. Here, we meet a number of girls, all below 18 years old, carrying babies not born by their mothers or relatives, but by the girls themselves. These are girls pushed into early marriage and pregnancy by tough conditions, especially when food, a critical basic need for survival, was getting hard to come by. Among them is 16-year-old refugee mother, even after getting married, hoping to be better, pondering the next move to secure what to eat without completely no idea of how she can make the breakthrough is still a routine to this worried-looking girl. The worst is she is not only distressed herself, feeling the pinch of starvation, but the fragile soul she has to take care of, that is, her baby whose father is nowhere to be traced.
I decided to marry, but even in marriage, I still suffer because my husband cannot afford the food. I am still the one running around to look for food.
This girl's story is not any different from her colleagues and many other refugee girls.
I got married at 16. I have no father or mother. I only came to the settlement with my sister. Even after marriage, getting food is still a challenge.
I say that, hey, if I'm not suffering like this, at least let me go and marry so that I will also rest in peace. This thing here, the food which they reduce, make now a lot of the children or the young girls think that they will go and marry so that they will get good future, but if you go and marry, you will still suffer and suffer and suffer on top of that.
The reduction of food ration has pushed us in more problems, especially when I now have a baby. Survival is hard, and my husband has disappeared.
Uganda is Africa's largest refugee hosting country, with about 1.4 million refugees and asylum seekers. The refugee response is being confronted by dire funding gap as a result of the devastating impact of COVID-19, the global economic recession, the war in Ukraine, among others. The funding gap has pushed World Food Programme to cut food ration and, in some instances, completely removed some refugee families from food support.
We'll look at things like people's food consumption, we'll look at malnutrition rates, we'll look at the kind of survival strategies that refugees resort to if they are in difficulties. And this will allow us to take our case to those who support the World Food Programme and the refugee response more broadly. Previously it was largely based on your refugee status. Now it will be based on your vulnerability as to the level of assistance that you will receive from WFP.
Many young refugee girls have left the camps to the urban centers in a desperate attempt to gamble life.
The food ratio which was reduced, people in category 3, they are not getting anything. Most of them are young girls. Really, the situation forced them to go to Koboko. Others become house girls. In Arua, Kampala, we have refugees who are in these towns and are trying to gamble life because of food reduction. And most of them went for early marriages. Others got teenage pregnancy. When they see the life is hard, others say, when I get married, that's when I will get a conducive environment. But actually, when they reach, the situation is worsened. So the boys, they also quit the settlement. You know, this scenario even lead some girls for the prostitute.
They have two girls who are already 13, then the other one is 12. Yes, but when I stopped from getting food ratio, they sneak out. Sometimes they go for discourse. They even sometimes when they go to market, they go and they come at night. When you ask, they say there's no food. Now why should they stay at home? It is very difficult actually to express the situation. When they say they look for survival, what do they mean exactly? Which means they are being engaged in something bad, like going for business of sex, going to men and then get money for survival at home.
The government of Uganda has continued to engage partners to contain the situation.
Yes, as the Office of the Prime Minister, we have seen because of COVID, there has been reduced funding and many partners are exiting the settlement. The refugee community is still a very vulnerable community that needs more support. We are also calling on partners to support us to make sure that a fundraising drive is carried out with all these gaps that we have. It's very true that there has been what we are calling as prioritization when it comes to food. That means it's only the extremely vulnerable that is targeted when it comes to food. Many families have been categorized at level 3. That means at level 3 you don't access food at all. And we are also advocating as Office of the Prime Minister through the local governments to the host community to give refugees or to offer refugees more land for cultivation. We also have protection partners that go on sensitizing communities on issues to do with the early pregnancies or early marriages or forced marriages. For girls who conceive while in school, I think there has been a waiver by government for them to return back to school. And also in some of our schools, you find there are breastfeeding corners to ensure that when these ladies attend classes, they can still come back to keep touch with their babies to enable them to study.
The police spokesperson for the West Nile region, Josephine Anguchia, has cautioned the refugees and host communities to be cautious of the Ugandan law, saying the long arm of the law will catch anyone who perpetuates act of defilement.
We had interaction with them whereby we agreed that we go down on ground, do a lot of sensitization through radio talk shows, maybe community dialogues. In case they don't abide, then they will be arrested and prosecuted accordingly.
It is until you visit a refugee homestead like this that you'll get to understand the magnitude of the problem, how dire the situation created by the reduction or cut in food aid is.
The international body, if they could support us with the Livelihood Project, then the other thing is if they could get for us land where we can cultivate.
My appeal to the international overseas that let them give us the knowledge so that each and everyone should be very resilient.
Faced with the daily stress of uncertainty, many refugees have decided to take that perilous journey back home, despite the risks involved due to the insecurity back home. For the news, I am Hafiz Bakit.